Hey everybody, I'm Kyle. I'm the owner and driver of the Valor 959 car. This is Josh, he's the co-driver, and we're here to tell you about our Mint 400 experience. So Josh, after Parker 250 this year, obviously we did not have the result we wanted. Yeah. We went 70 miles an hour off the 100-foot cliff into disaster. We had a lot of work to do to the car. We had about 8 to 9 weeks to do it in. So let's kind of go over what we did to the car and how we prepared for this race. So like I was saying, just a short time frame, 8 to 9 weeks. RT Pro came through huge with us. They delivered all new suspension for us. So we got all of that taken care of. We contacted Super ATV. They hooked us up with some new Rhino 2.0 axles. We've been running them with great success to date. A lot of the top guys are running those actually. It feels very good to have something that solid underneath us. Yeah. We also made a big change in our wheel and tire combo. We saw Raceline's new wheel at the Parker 250 race. It's a 6-inch wide wheel over our 7-inch previous wheel, and the offsets changed quite a bit from a 5 to 1 over the 4.3 that we previously ran. So it was going to narrow up the car a lot, but it was also going to provide us a lot less scrub radius on the front, so we'd have a lot better steering input, a lot less feedback through the wheel. So big changes. GBC Tires also approached us with our new Canati TerraMaster tire, and man, that's such an intriguing tire with its dual tread design. We're excited to try those guys out and cool for this race. The car was in pretty good shape as far as the chassis was concerned. We had to rebuild the front bumper, but the main structure of the chassis was very straight, very good condition still. We did want to make a lot of changes to the car since we were digging into it. So we redid our whole dash display. It's got the new race pack display over the factory Razor dash, and it's an all aluminum dash versus the factory plastic one from before. And we did some clutching changes, and obviously wheels and tires. Lots of change. Yeah. Josh, how about you talk to us a little bit? How did you change your approach as far as the mapping goes for this?
Yeah, so in the Parker, obviously we messed up by driving off the cliff. And so this race, I took a lot more care in building the map and going through it more with a finer tooth comb and really trying to figure out what the terrain is doing and not just worrying about the corners. And I went over it a couple more times extra. Like the day, or right before the race, I was going through it and looking at the map, trying to really figure out what's coming up next.
Sure.
And so that was my biggest change that I made for myself.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So we had a lot of big plans for this race. Unfortunately, I think we bit off a little more we could chew. We had a ton of work to do. We got it all done, but we were working up until 4:30 of the morning that we left. Yeah. We were working 18 to 24 hour days straight there at the end trying to get everything done. But we made it. We made it to the race. Unfortunately, we did not have any testing time. Obviously, a good race program consists of good preparation and testing. That was a key ingredient left out. Very disappointed that we couldn't do that. If we could have a takeaway for a lot of the new guys out there, make sure you leave time for testing. It's huge. Yep. So we enjoyed a couple days of tech and contingency at the Mint. Really cool setup they have at Fremont Street. This year they split the tech into 2 days, which was really cool. I like that.
Very helpful.
Very helpful. For sure. And so the parade, we were able to get the car in the parade, and that was the first time we got to drive the car all together. So literally no testing involved. And Corbin Wells with Union Graphics Company, he hooked us up with this this new graphics kit as well. So we were looking fly as we were going down the strip.
Super sweet.
Yes. It turned out pretty awesome. We were happy with it.
It looks good.
Yeah. So race morning this year, well, like previous years as well, the Mint, we actually leave before the trophy truck. So we were up at 4:30. In the parking lot, got the machine unloaded, got to staging at 5 a.m. We were the first ones there. Apparently we're really excited to race.
Well, let's go racing.
Yeah, that's right. So this year we were starting next to the Star Car with Antron Brown and Steve Torrance racing it. So in my mind, I'm like, dude, we have got to nail this start. Like these are high-level NHRA top fuel drag racers. Let's hammer them on the start. Yeah. I don't know who won off the start. I'm going to say we won just because, but we definitely beat them to the first corner there. This car's a rocket ship off the line.
That's
so
pretty good.
Yeah, it did good. We hit the first corner, and that jump after the first corner was significantly bigger than we thought it was. We launched that jump. Yeah, we did find footage of it later. You can see the car bouncing as it comes off of the jump.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. At that point, we lost communication. And it took me a minute before I realized that Josh couldn't hear me. And obviously I couldn't hear any of his signals or anything like that.
Yeah, we hit so hard that the comm cable actually came out. And I was completely dead. I could not hear anything in my helmet. And so as we're going through the little short course, race course there, I'm like flipping all the switches, trying to freaking out, trying to get my comms back on. I knew that something was wrong. And, but yeah, I eventually just had to start giving him hand signals, kind of made it up as I went. And he gave me a thumbs up. He's like, yeah, I like that. So
yeah, he was actually doing a really good job. I was very happy with the improvisation that he did there.
Yeah.
You know, like basically we call out our corners on a scale of 1 to 5. And so he would give me basically however many fingers and then the direction. So I was easy for me to understand just as well. Something else that happened when we went off the jump was we lost our power steering. So, you know, we had put a relay in instead of a fuse for the power steering. I don't know what caused it to fail, but it failed. And this race course was rough.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, it, you know, in Vegas to Reno, we thought that was our roughest course because we had followed the trophy trucks on that race. But on this one, we were first, and there was still super whooped out, big ruts. We were dragging the skid plate everywhere. Yeah.
Huge rocks.
And unfortunately, because of our lack of prep, the suspension was way too soft. We were bottoming out hard on every single, every bump it seemed. It was bad. So we had to kick back our pace a little bit. On top of that, I didn't have power steering, so we were just trying to make it to the first pit to where we could dive into it a little bit and figure that out. So Josh continued to give me the hand signals. We were cruising along. Not too much later, we started getting belt temperature warnings.
Yeah, those were going off the roof.
Yeah, so, you know, we had just installed the Razorback belt temp gauge, and so I wasn't sure if it was, maybe I'd installed it a little off, and maybe it was reading a clutch sheave or the actual belt. It was definitely reading the belt. That we grenaded a belt at about mile marker 30.
Yeah.
Josh and I both jumped out at that point. We did the belt change pretty quick. We were able to look under the dash, see the comm cable that had come disconnected, plug it back in, and on the road we went.
Yeah, we actually left the clutch cover off too this time to try to keep it cool and not overheat again. That was the only solution we could think of.
Yeah, just for a quick fix. We weren't sure what was causing it. But yeah, our belt temperatures from that point were, I don't think we ever read above 160 degrees.
No, it was
so
150 dead on.
Yeah, so that definitely helped not running the clutch cover. Of course, we run the risk of getting a lot more dirt and rocks up in there, but we couldn't
think of.
Yeah, we couldn't go with replacing a belt every 30 miles. So as we got close to the first pit, we started radioing, saying, hey, get the jack ready. We need to lift the car up. We need to turn up the suspension. We need it stiffer. As we pulled in, our pit crews did an amazing job. They got the car lifted up. They turned up our front suspension. One of the bad things we had on the back is we have these limiting straps that prevent the suspension from going all the way down, so we couldn't make a rear suspension change. But they did change the front, and it was huge.
Immediate change.
Absolutely, yeah. Right off the beginning, we were not bottoming out every time. You know, it would have been better to turn up the back a little bit, but even with just the front, it was huge. So
front was the worst.
They got us in and out in a fairly quick time, and we were on the track again.
At that point, the car started feeling really good.
Yeah,
like we started getting back in the groove.
Yeah, we're like, all right, cool. Let's get our groove. Let's start clicking off some miles here. So, unfortunately, in just a few miles, the car overheated. We got our indicator on our dash saying that the engine was hot. So, we pulled off. See if we can let it cool down for a bit. It didn't cool down, so we jumped out, and come to find out we were out of coolant. It was bone dry.
Bone dry.
So
the fan wasn't even running because it wasn't even reading the fluid.
Yeah,
and
so
it was that bad.
We got our camelbacks. We topped off. We emptied our camelbacks into it, and we're like, well, that's the best we can do. Let's see if we can make it to the next pit. And jumped back in the car. You know, we had looked at hoses. We couldn't see where the fluid was coming from. So we're like, well, let's fill it and let's get as far as we can. So we jumped in, made it a couple more miles is all. Just as we started getting up into the mountains, it overheated, and basically at that point our race was done. We jumped out of the car, we saw a ton of coolant all over the spare tire, and we'd realized that a fan blade had broke and gone through our radiator, draining everything we had. So
all of it.
Yeah. So we had just passed a couple miles back. We had passed one of the checkpoints, so we couldn't reach anybody on our intercom or our radios because we were up in the canyon. So we just hiked it out a couple miles. We went to the checkpoint. Some guys in a nice blue Jeep hooked us up with a ride out of there, and that was our mint.
Yeah,
so, a lot shorter than we had hoped.
Very short.
We had an amazing pit crew come out this time. We had 18 guys come out, girls and guys come out to help us.
That was awesome.
And 3 trucks. I know Josh and I were both very disappointed that we couldn't let them experience the racing a little bit more by helping in the pits, but that's the way it goes. And that was our mint experience. So
yeah, wasn't what we expected, but we got to experience it, so we'll be ready for next year, definitely.
Absolutely.
I think so.
If any of you guys have any questions, please comment. Make sure to follow us on YouTube and hit the like button. Also, if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's at Valor959. And thanks for watching this video, guys.
Yeah, all you guys have a good day, and God bless.
God bless.